recently had the pleasure to go see K-popDemonHunters in theaters, and this kind of re-sparked my whole interest in this movie, and now I'd like to talk about one of the characters. I've seen a lot of hate directed towards Celine, which, she doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in the movie, but her actions lead up to one of the main problems in this movie. She raised Rumi to have all these insecurities about being part demon, and now Rumi's too scared to tell her friends that she's part demon, and Celine also just won't let her. And I'm not here to defend Celine's actions, but I can't hate her. I really can't. I understand where she's coming from, and I've always said that reasons are not excuses, but these reasons help understand why these characters do what they do. And I can't hate her. It's just, I can't imagine being raised your whole life to think that demons are awful and, they're dangerous. They really are. They're killing people and they want to take over the world. And then you find out that your best friend, who you hunt demons with, fell in love with a demon, and not just that, she loved that demon enough to have a child with him. And yet, even though Celine probably felt so betrayed, she still decided to take care of Rumi when her mom asked her to. She still cared. She still cared about her friend enough to fulfill her wish. And she makes a big deal throughout this movie about, hide your insecurities, hide your problems. And I think it's very human to want to hide your problems. And I don't think that I know what she's doing is wrong, but I also kind of get where she's coming from because the demons will exploit your weaknesses. And that's what they do with Rumi. They exploit her weakness. They reveal to her friends that she lied to them and she'd been part demon the whole time. But granted, Celine did give her the insecurity about being part demon, and she probably would not have had that problem if it weren't for Celine. But I'm sure that if Celine didn't give Rumi this deep insecurity about being part demon, the demon still would have used some sort of weakness against Rumi and her friends. And then after everything happens, after Rumi's friends find out that she's a demon, Rumi runs back to Celine and asks Celine to take her life. And I feel like that if in this moment Celine had actually considered it, maybe I should, but she doesn't. She says no. Now I'll admit the part where Rumi says, "Why don't you love me, all of me?" Yeah, that part hurt a lot, and I can understand where Rumi is coming from, and I do not excuse Celine for not loving all of Rumi, because at the end of the day, it's not Rumi's fault that she's part demon. She had no control over that. You shouldn't blame a child for your friend's actions. But even though she doesn't love all of Rumi, I still think that Celine does care about her a bit, especially since she decided not to kill Rumi in that moment. And another thing I've noticed is people will be like, "Oh, Jinu did nothing wrong," which I love Jinu as much as the next person, but what he did is arguably worse than what Celine did. He abandoned his family, lied to Rumi about abandoning his family, and then he turns on Rumi whenever she trusted him. And let's not forget, he's helping Guimauve steal souls from a bunch of humans. He does have his reasons for doing that. He wants to forget about what he did, and it seems like he regrets what he did, which is good, If he had no remorse for his actions, that would be a different story, but he regrets it. And he does redeem himself by giving his soul to Rumi. But at the end of the day, what he did was still pretty awful, and I'm pretty sure the reason people let him off the hook so easily is because he's hot. Which, I can't argue that he's not. It may sound like I'm slandering Jinu and I hate him, but I don't. I like Jinu's character a lot. I love him and Rumi, and I really hope that his soul is in her sword and that they can somehow bring him back. But I'm just tired of seeing all this Celine hate. I think it's okay to criticize her for what she did because, I've already said that reasons are not excuses, but I can still understand where she's coming from. Doesn't excuse her actions. I'm not saying that she's perfect and she did no wrong. I'm just saying that I think she gets overhated. But these have just been my thoughts, and now I'd like to hear yours. I'd like to know if people agree with me or if they disagree. I'm happy to talk about it in the comments. I'd like to hear your opinions. But with all that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!